I have decided to watch the entire One Piece anime. Yep. The whole 1000 plus episodes, plus movies where they're relevant, with filler included. This is basically gonna be a video journal series where I talk about my thoughts on the series as far as I'd have watched. Of course, seeing as how the internet will be the internet, I want to watch the anime. The manga could be better, but I prefer watching a show, seeing how I like it, than reading it afterwards. I'll try my hardest to not read any spoilers, but as I'm saying this, some of you will probably type some in the comments. That said, I'll still try nonetheless. Anyway, that's the premise. I talk about One Piece when I have stuff to say, but let's start easy. What happened in the first 100 episodes and what do I think about it? So if you've clicked on this video, surely you know what the basic plot of One Piece is. Well, whether you do or not, let's get it caught up to speed. One Piece focuses on the rubber human pirate Monkey D. Luffy, who got his abilities through eating a devil fruit as he moves toward his dream of becoming the Pirate King. As it means towards the end, he sets out for the One Piece, a treasure that the previous Pirate King Gold D. Roger left behind without any hints as to what it actually is. How'd I do? Obviously, there's more to that journey, but that's the rough plot starting out. I mean, why else would it be going on for 1100 plus episodes? Before we get into the rest of the video, let me bring you up to speed on me. Hi, I'm Daniel. I've watched my fair share of anime. You know, just a small number. And through all that, I've seen stuff from a lot of points on the spectrum of quality. From the good to the bad. The goated stuff to trash. Wholesome to inconspicuous fireplaces. If you know, you know. To be fair, this number is a bit deceiving. If I were to count the number of different series or IPs, it'd come out to somewhere around 250 different series. You'd think by the 100th anime mark or something, I'd have at least seen some of it. But no. I just didn't get to it because the length always seems so staggering. Yeah, it's a common criticism, but after seeing a bit of it, it's still a valid enough reason to not get into it as much as it is to actually start it. But hey, better late than never, right? Well, everything I just pointed out there basically summed up the first few episodes of the show, but of course there's more to it. Luffy's first hurdle is to get into the Grand Line, a legendary route that wraps around the entire world of One Piece that separates North and South. Said route is legendary in that it has its reputation as a pirate's graveyard, featuring phenomena that can't be seen anywhere else. That being the case, the Roger pirates and especially Goldie Roger managed to sail across the entire route, an achievement earning him the title of Pirate King. As a step towards that goal, he begins looking for a crew to help him with this dream, because every pirate's gotta have a crew. As I'm only 100 or so episodes in, naturally, somewhere along the line, I had to ask myself, is this even good? And while I would say that I suck at explaining things, that's kind of why I'm writing a script for this, so here we go. One Piece, like a lot of people told me before going into this, is all about its characters and world building. The characters are all great. I mean, sure, the main Straw Hats crew, but also a lot of the side characters. Everyone has their own stories to tell, or at least makes you wonder about them. I'd probably go to say every named character has some sort of backstory that makes them unique or at least impactful. Yeah, I just told you about Luffy's, but that's not where the rest of the crew sit. They all have their own goals and just go along with Luffy because of aligned interests. Even though they can end up helping Luffy with his, that's not to say all of them are only looking for the One Piece. With what I know, Zoro wants to be the world's greatest swordsman, Nami wants to become a navigator to map out the entire ocean, Usopp wants to be a strong warrior like his pops was, Sanji wants to find the All Blue, a place where every fish in the world is said to gather. Chopper, aka Tony Chopper, a reindeer, dreams of being able to cure any disease. Even if I look at some of the side characters or villains, there's a lot of fun ones that stand out. Buggy's a fun villain that shows up every now and then, and while he's pretty one note with wanting to get revenge on Luffy and all that, it's cool that the characters don't feel forgotten after their arc ends. Smoker, a marine captain that first went into Luffy at Locktown. Sure, he's after Luffy because he got a bounty for knocking out some infamous pirates, but he still sort of gives that oh shit moment when he does show up. There's a ton more, but me telling you about those here would ruin a lot of good moments, even just in the 100 episodes so far. When it comes to the world building, One Piece lives up to the hype. Every location that they visited so far has a purpose. Might not be entirely clear what it is, but there's a reason for it to be there. When it comes to how fast they get to those places, oof. Progression in One Piece is like any other long-running shonen series. Full of filler. Okay, seriously though, arcs tie into one another like an interconnected world. Shocker. The pacing is kinda dog shit, but I'll give it some slack since I'm still at the late 90s, early 2000s point of the anime production-wise. And stuff back then was practically made to stall. But that aside, when it comes to main arcs, everything feels like it matters without taking up too much time away from the main conflicts. You get the gist of everyone's backstories, but not feeling like it overstays itself. I mean, it was gonna come up sooner or later, but Naruto. Most of you watching this are likely to have seen one or the other. I draw this comparison since it's the only other multi-hundred episode anime I've seen so far. But for as much as I like Naruto, my god, the pacing is horrible. Even if I did have a shit ton of time to watch it when I did, the amount of stalling the show did was still noticeable. Hell, the second half of the original series was all filler. The point is, while Naruto does have a good plotline overall, it falls when it comes to the filler in the anime. A lot of parts are really drawn out, and my heart goes out to you if you watched it when it was coming out, because that had to be painful. I sort of get that feeling in One Piece, but it's not as bad, since the extra stuff actually makes you feel something, and that happens more often than not. The few times I actually enjoyed Naruto filler were stuff like the Hidden Star Village in the original series, and maybe Tsunade's Infinite Tsukiyomi Dreamscape in Shippuden. Not even speaking of Boruto, although I might get to it if you wanted it enough. But yeah, the side stuff in One Piece can be worth watching. Sometimes. This being an anime, it's gotta have some flair in the animation, right? Well, comparing something from the late 90s to what we have right now isn't exactly fair. But for what it is, it's pretty good, and that's mostly thanks to One Piece having its own visual identity. Like in a lot of video games, a different art style or art direction can lead to something aging better. You'd be hard-pressed to see a lot of other anime that go for the same style as One Piece. Let's go into the main characters a bit more. So, the Straw Hats. Most of you probably already know the early crew, and the few of you that don't are probably thinking, that's a lot of main characters to build on and not feel like one of them is being cut short. But as far as I can see, everyone's gotten their share of the spotlight. Where better to start than with Luffy, the leader of the bunch. You know him well. Luffy is your typical shonen protagonist. Most of you that watch a lot of shonen anime already know where I'm going with this being especially true since One Piece started in the 90s. High-spirited, energetic fool that has big dreams. But hey, for what he's worth, he's a lovable main character that has this aura that gets you to like him. Yeah, he's not all there in the common sense department, but if anybody fucks with him or his crew, he's the first one to beat the ever-living shit out of them. He'll go as far as to save his crewmates before saving an entire nation. And hell, he made this especially clear to the princess of said nation. On a less positive note, I don't know if there's some big character arc coming, but I'm not the biggest fan of Usopp. Don't get me wrong, the rest of the gang's great. Some of you in the comments might hate on me for that, but that's just how I'm feeling. Where I am right now, Usopp is just plain annoying. Almost to Zenitsu levels from Demon Slayer. I'll leave my opinions open, but damn. I'll be optimistic, but it's hard, y'all. As for the rest, I like them. Zoro was the first to join the crew, and in terms of character dynamics, he almost comes off like a big brother to Luffy. He'll go with Luffy's antics, but knows when to reel him back if he needs to. That's been especially true in the Alabasta arc. Also, it's just cool that he primarily uses 3 swords to fight. A little excessive, but cool nonetheless. Nami is the closest one to being the rational one of the group, except when she's staring down a prophet. She comes off as a typical thief at first, but is then revealed to have come from some islands that were overtaken by fishermen pirates. She believed that if she managed to scrounge up 100 million berry, the currency of the world, they'd give her hometown back to her, but the pirates lied through their teeth, because pirates gotta pirate. But this is a part that really sold Luffy as a protagonist to me. He was adamant about helping. He already saw Nami as an official crewmate, and by that point, anything directed to her would have to be taken up with Luffy first. For as much as Nami didn't want to involve them, seeing that she betrayed the Straw Hats, Luffy kept pushing to help. Sanji is the 90s resident pervert. He also serves as the resident cook on the ship. He grew up around chefs his whole life after running away from home. His main goal is to go find the All Blue, a place where the East Blue, West Blue, North Blue, South Blue, and their respective wildlife meet. Chopper wants to find a cure for every disease in the world, because of the history he has with the people who took him in and accepted him even though he was a blue-nosed reindeer. Yeah, ever hear of that one? Okay, well this one can turn into a human because of a devil fruit. Pretty colorful crew to be honest, with no shortage of banter and fun moments between them. Now for Tari Vivi. Not sure how much staying power she has, but since she's been with them for the past 60 or so episodes, she's at least a temporary member. Princess of the Alabasta Kingdom, that is currently falling apart right now due to a rebel army and an organization by the name of Baroque Works. Not to mention the kingdom itself has been in a drought for a bit of time by this point. But hey, she's got grit to her. something I find cool about characters in positions of royalty. For as legendary as One Piece is, there's been a huge standout moment to me so far, and that's during the Arlong Park arc. A lot of people say that it's the first bump to get past to see if you really want to continue watching, and I sort of agree. Although for me, the big part in that is when Luffy was getting his ass handed to him by Arlong, when he said, that really solidified to me that, yeah, he's the main character and all, but ironically, unlike a lot of other protagonists, he can't do everything on his own. That's why he's looking for a crew, for a swordsman, a navigator, a cook, a liar. Wait, it's because he can't do any of those things his crew can that he looks to them for help. Luffy might have the power of a devil fruit, but hey, at the end of the day, it's night, and Luffy's still human. He can only do so many things before giving out. Sure, that thing is punching the shit out of anyone that messes with his friends, but it was a great way to humanize him, even if he is the big OP protagonist. A message that Naruto tried to sell you on that this series sold way faster. One Piece is one of the titans in the manga/anime world, and I can sort of get why now. I'm going through the latter half of the Alabasta saga right now, and I've got to give it an 8 out of 10 so far. I'll probably do another update at the 500 episode mark or something like that, just to not overload you all in One Piece stuff. But yeah, I've been really liking it. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you in another video. See ya.